live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Hey, hey, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going live. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, yeah, we going. Yeah, 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 we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line, we going live. From the 50-yard line. Hey.
All right, real good topics.
Yeah.
All right, now listen. There have been quite a few NFL trades this offseason, you know, and what's the most surprising trade that you've seen this NFL offseason?
You really want me to
The
say
most.
it? The most? You really want me to say it?
What you gonna say?
No. Trade. Let's see. I'm gonna have to go.
You was about to pick on me. I know you was. I know you was. You ain't right.
I won't do it. I won't do it.
Okay.
A trade that really has shocked me this offseason would have to be, and it's not because I didn't know it was coming, and now I have a better understanding of why it was done, but it still looks really funky, is the Matt Ryan to the Colts for a third round draft pick.
Yeah.
It just, I get why.
Yeah.
And I applaud the Falcons for the way that they handled things with him. That was very classy.
Of course. Well, I mean, we wouldn't expect anything less for Arthur Blank.
But it just looks real funky. Like
It does.
a third round draft. I'm sorry, I know how you feel about Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan is still one of the elite quarterbacks in this league.
No. So in fairness, I didn't think that he was worth the number one. I didn't think that he was worth the first round draft pick. But I said that 2 number 2s should get it done for somebody because he is a former MVP. Yeah. And shout out to Brian Abson Sr. We were arguing about this right before the trade hit.
Okay.
He was saying Matt Ryan's going to get a number 1. He deserves, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a former MVP. He's going to get a first round pick. I'm like, no. Matt Ryan is like 5 or 6 years removed from being the MVP. And he's on the downslide of his career. He can still get it done, but like nobody's giving up a first round for that.
Right.
And as soon as it came through that he got a third round, he was upset. I was like, listen, you lost that one. I think wings should be on me. I mean, wings should be on you.
Right. Yeah, no, that one just for the trade itself was one that was surprising to me.
Yeah.
For sure. That was one of those like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's what y'all think. I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, this how y'all think about that? But then when I read, like, it made more sense. But it's still, I don't know. I feel like y'all didn't haggle enough. I don't know.
Carson wins for me because I don't feel like there was a
couldn't say it then.
Well, no, because you was gonna say it jokingly. I feel like there were a few other trades we could have been in the running for Deshaun, you know, and like, you know, maybe we don't get him, but I think we tried for Russell Wilson and that didn't work. He didn't want to waive his no trade clause for them, and I get it. Totally understand that. I would have been a lot happier with Baker Mayfield, you know, as the bridge quarterback that gets us to our next, you know.
Okay, never mind.
But ultimately, I feel like with this move, we really could have just stuck with.
That's what I was saying.
The quarterback that we had.
Thielen. What's his name? Thielen. What's his name?
I can't think of it.
Isn't it Thielen? Why don't I want to say Thielen? Like something crazy.
It starts with an 8. Heineke.
Heineke. It was something. I knew it was something weird. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the man performed. That's what I guess I was thinking. If you're gonna go get one, Carson Wentz,
right.
like, okay.
I would have even been happy to trade for Matt Ryan, as surprising as that sounds. If we were going to give up some draft picks, now I know taking on that contract would have been kind of a thing, but if I'm not mistaken, because of when he got traded, the Falcons are still kind of on the hook for a portion of that contract.
$60 million, yes.
You know, And so,
yes, they are on the hook for $60 million.
yeah, I don't understand. I like what it leads me to believe is that there is a lot of ineptitude in Washington. And I thought with our new president, our new Black president, that there would be some moves that would be made that would, you know, kind of get the fan base going. And they've just botched this year, like the Commanders, Carson Wentz. Throw the whole franchise away. Throw it away.
Well, can I say, to his defense, he has an owner who I feel like very much so Jerry Jones in the way that he handles things. Like, you just here for a show. I run this. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm inept. You said it. He's inept at being an owner and a businessman, and that's obvious. But he still owns the team nonetheless. And so I feel like it was, and this is not taking away from your president. But I will say, I feel like it was for show. For sure. And he just got to kind of deal with what he got to deal with, right? Fight the battles he can. And he probably don't want to fight that battle. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, that was going to be my, and then if I got to say one, why would the Falcons trade for Marcus Mariota?
He's a great quarterback. And I'm going to tell you why. Your coach's name, Arthur Smith?
Yes.
You know, he came from Tennessee, where Marcus Mariota was previously.
And
that's what these coaches go and do. They go get their favorite players, their guys, their guys.
To them, what looks familiar to them.
Yeah. So,
well,
blame your head coach.
I certainly will. He's still on the hot seat, in my opinion. You haven't proven yourself at all, sir. Anyway, let's not go there. We just needed a gripe about our teams today.
Right.
So yeah, but okay. Anyway.
All right, let's talk about this NCAA civil lawsuit.
Yeah, it's against the division. So it's a civil lawsuit filed by the NCAA, which is what is it? National College Players Association, I think is what it is. It's a Division I suit. I mean, it's against the Division I for discrimination practices. They allege that athletes in predominantly white sports are compensated properly, or allowed to gain proper compensation, where predominantly Black athlete sports, which are like football and basketball, are not. And they introduced this after a statement from Supreme Court Justice Brett Cavanaugh, who made the statement that it's a problem because most of the African-American athletes are less privileged, and therefore they should not be in this situation where they cannot be compensated. Now, I found this really interesting. That this was kind of where the NCPA, I think, was motivated to file this suit based on, I feel like they felt like, one of the justices feels this way. Maybe if it has to go there, you know what I mean? Like, we got somebody on our side, at least, to kind of try to push this through. So I feel like this was a tactical move on their part, smart tactics, by the way. And I think it's absolutely true. I find it to be very sad that we continue to have conversations around this type of thing, even with the NIL in place. That doesn't, because what's not going to happen is name, image, and likeness is not going to be the forefront for everybody.
Right.
There will still be athletes who are not receiving contracts to sponsor or partner with these places and people and things. And so they still are having the same issue they were having before. So I feel like this is something that's really necessary to, if nothing else, bring it to the forefront, that we are not saying, oh, well, they got NIL now, so they're good. Like, don't do that, because that's not everybody's truth. And some people are still going to be like, I just remember, I don't know how bad it is now, but I remember athletes that I went to college with who literally, because I lived in an apartment, I mean, they just happened to know me. So they would be like, yo, you got some food? Y'all not finna come over here and eat me out of my food. Wait, what? Because they couldn't afford to go buy food. Like, it was like, in cafeteria closed at a certain time. It was nowhere for them to go get anything else. So literally they just like, yo, you got, don't call me. Listen, you are 6'8". If I let you in my house, all y'all in my house, it's gonna be over. I'm gonna be barren. My house will look like it. So yeah, just sad.
No, that's real. And I, like you said, it's surprising that Brett Cavanaugh was the one who, spoke up on this. But I'm glad he did, and I think that this is something that attention needs to be called to. Yeah. All of the injustices that we see, we need our white brothers and sisters to call attention to them, to combat these types of injustices, because we'll continue to see them until they speak up.
Unfortunately, because we've been hollering about this for years and years, like decades about this. So clearly it's not going to be our voices that make the difference. And so any allies we can get that see this and, recognize this. And I think that the one plus is that a lot of these athletes, the one good thing about sport is, for the most part, when you play sport, you kind of put color to the side as teammates, or you know what I mean? Like you don't really, and so they get to interact and see each other's lives in ways that they may not if they did not play sport. And so I feel like that's why possibly even Brett Cavanaugh spoke up, because of playing sport. I'm sure he plays sport. Playing sport in high school and college and seeing the discrepancies and disparities that exist, and like, wow, like, you know what I mean? And even, so I feel like that's one of those things that is, and let's be clear, the other part of that is the part that Brett Kavanaugh brought up, which I feel like is the central reason for even making this an issue, is these African-American students aren't typically growing up in circumstances that allow them the freedom to move about and do like their white counterparts might in their socioeconomic background.
Yeah.
They're typically not growing up in those situations.
Right.
Not all of them are poor, but there is a great majority, that a big enough number that it needs to be addressed. There's a gap. And so like what Judge Jackson said in one of her responses was, I grew up, in Miami, went to public school, got to Harvard, and all these prep school kids are there. She was like, I didn't even recognize what Harvard was. Like, I didn't recognize what a big deal this was, that I was going to Harvard. She was like, but I get there and all these prep school kids, she said, including my husband, were there. They came from different backgrounds that I understood or ever had experienced. Yeah. So I think that's a lot of the truth, right? It may not be prep school, but you definitely probably grew up in a different, better economic situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The Liberty University's Malik Willis, his pro day brought the coaches out. I don't think that there was one team that wasn't there represented.
Listen, let me tell you something. We can get him.
Listen, do you see the way he was throwing that ball around?
We can get him. Come on, Malik.
It was reminiscent of
Mike.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Okay. They comparing him to Mike Vick though, like a right-handed Mike Vick.
Yeah. I mean, because this arm strength that he has is kind of effortless.
It's like Mike. Like Mike flick a ball.
He would just flick his wrist and it'd be gone.
And it's gone for 60 yards like nothing. Like what?
Yeah. He's a bigger guy though, and that's why I think I went to Ben Roethlisberger. He's not as big as Ben Roethlisberger, obviously, but he's a bigger guy. He's mobile, you know. Ben ain't all that mobile
at all.
But just like his delivery, like to me, it just kind of reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger, and so I think I can see him going to. I think that might be why they went and got Trubisky. I could see the Steelers going, maybe trading up to make sure that they get him.
I'm not gonna be mad at that. You know, that's my other team. So
no, I know. Yeah, that's what.
I won't be mad at that. Let's go. I would be excited to see that. I mean, you know, it's the because I look at the Steelers, even though there were many black quarterbacks before him, Cordell Stewart.
Yeah.
In his time there, it just really stood out to me, right? And so I just see that, like, you know what I mean? Like, so that would be cool. But I listen, this kid is the truth.
Yeah.
When you can bring all the coaches out to your pro day, you know, everybody. You know, and I'm not so sure that we don't, you know, get in the mix in there to y'all just, you know, we'll go. We more likely than y'all. Let's not play because Carson.
We'll go get it. We'll go get a black quarterback.
That ain't the point. That ain't what I'm talking about. Y'all just got Carson Wentz. Y'all wouldn't have got what people would consider a real quarterback. We wouldn't have got the play quarterback. So y'all just
both of them were starters in this league.
Anyway. Wherever Malik went, because and then the other thing is he's from Atlanta. Like, I'm just saying. Come home again.
I don't think you guys have a high enough draft pick to get him.
Come home again, right? No, we won't get it.
No, probably not.
No,
but I think you guys are putting your eggs in the basket for Bryce Young. We talked about that.
Yep.
You know.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Won't watch football next year. Next season. It's fine. Just won't be watching football.
Turn off the TV next year.
Well, luckily I'm not in a market where I have to watch the Falcons. So.
You'll be watching Tom.
Oh my God. Yeah, I'll be watching old Tom Brady. That's what I'll be watching. So but wherever he ends up, one, he's an alum of my alma mater. So yes, Liberty University. Yeah. So yes. And two, just wherever he ends up, I wish him well. Really. Yeah. And he's gonna be excited to watch. I can't wait to see it. Wherever you are, I'm gonna be a fan, right?
Yeah.
If it's in Steeler Nation, I'm gonna be extremely happy. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry, let's go. All right.
Josh Hart and Larry Nance Jr. Now we talked about them a couple of months ago. About how when they got traded, they, you know, instead of, you know, one selling their house and going to look for it, they end up both just swapping houses because they were swapped with teams. And so, you know, talk a little bit about them. They actually became friends as teammates with the Lakers.
I just think it's a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
I love that, you know, I think Josh isn't married, but Larry is.
Yeah.
And so the story that I read was Larry said Josh is not allowed to take the picture of him and his wife and his daughter off the wall in the bedroom.
Oh my God. So you gotta
look at us. Yeah. You gotta look at us. So.
That's cool. Like, do you think about like how their off seasons go? I'm sure they see each other's houses. Right. So it's like, well, this house is familiar. Like, I'm gonna just stay at your house and you stay at mine.
At your house and you stay at mine. Like, hey, economically smart too, right?
Right.
Like not buying houses all over the place.
Yeah.
So, no, I love it. It was cool.
Yeah. Put the cameras on me, 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 put the cameras on me.